And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the games that was one of the biggest hits at Gen Con, or at least one of the most anticipated titles of Gen Con. We're going to take a look at Smash Up from Alderac Entertainment, or AEG. Now, this is a card game for 2 to 4 players that kind of takes the deck building concept and modifies it. Instead of deck building, we're going to be looking at kind of shuffle building. You're going to take 2 different decks and put them together in order to create a deck that you're going to use to try and play an area control-ish type of game. So real quick, we'll take a look at what you get inside of that box and how the game plays, and then we'll come back here and get my final opinions on Smash Up. Here you can see the 8 potential factions that you can play in Smash Up. And now, I guess it's not 8 that you can play because you can mix them together, and you're going to take 1 and 1 and mix them together to form a deck. So you could have zombie tricksters or wizard dinosaurs or whatever the case may be. There's several combinations you can make. But each of these factions has a different special focus. For example, ninjas are going to be sneaky. They're going to try and do things at the last second before you score points, whereas robots get bonuses for having more robots. Or dinosaurs are simply big. Pirates kind of move around the board a little bit more, shifting from one spot to another to try and best score, whereas zombies keep coming back. Aliens are going to be taking things and replacing them. Wizards are kind of just going to be summoning cards, and tricksters are just going to mess with how the game plays in general. But basically, you're going to pick 2 of these either at random or by choice. For example, we could have dinosaur ninjas, and I would take these cards and shuffle them together. And each opponent, or each player, would also pick 2 factions and put them together, and then you'd be ready to lay out the base cards so you can start the game. So here you can see Smash Up set up for 2 players. Now it plays up to 4, but right now we're going to look at a 2-player game. And you can see we have these bases out in the center, and these are going to be the areas that you're vying for control of. Now sometimes you want to be first, sometimes second, sometimes third, but all of these are going to be examples of where you want to be first, because you'll see the number of points you score for winning them goes from left to right. First place, second place, third place. 2 points, 0 points, and 0 points. 3, 4, and down from there on the other 2 bases. But some of them have more points for second place. So for example, if I go through these real quick, this ninja base right here, Ninja Dojo, has more points for second place than it does for first. So coming in second wouldn't be so bad there. But each of these cards has point values on it, first, second, and third, as I said, and then at the top left they're going to have what's called a break point. This is the number or power of cards that need to be there before the card will be scored. So once 12 power from minions is on this spot, you're going to score this card, and whoever's in first will get 2 points, the other people will get nothing. Other cards have either higher breakpoints, or some of them have abilities. So for example, this one here has an ability that when it's scored, and when they score it, whoever won it is going to look at the top card of their deck, of the base deck, and choose one of the cards to replace this base. So they're going to look at some cards from this deck, and they get to choose which one comes out after this one. The homeworld at the bottom here says each time you play a minion there, which is going to be one of your creatures from your deck, you can place another minion of power 2 or less. So it kind of spawns more guys as you play guys out there. Now, on a player's turn, they're going to have a hand of cards. They'll start with 5 cards, and it's going to be some combination of the 2 factions that they shuffled in. So this one is mostly ninjas, but we'll see we have a dinosaur action card here. And on your turn, you can play 1 minion, and you can play 1 action. And you can also resolve any special abilities of those cards as you play them out. So for example, this is an action. We're not going to do that first because most of the ninjas' actions affect minions out on the board. So we're going to look at the minions we have. We have a Tiger Assassin here that says you may destroy a minion of power 3 or less on this base. So you would choose which base to play it out to, whichever one you want the most, and you would play this card out there. And if there were a minion of power 3 or less on this base, you could destroy it, but there aren't any, so you couldn't do that. So you may not play that, but unfortunately, all you have in your hand are Tiger Assassins, and then you have the Shinobi. And it says you may play this card as a special action before a base is scored from your hand. You can only use this Shinobi once per ability, or this ability once per base. So this is kind of a card you can sneak in at the last minute before one of these areas scores. So you may not want to play that to the table because it kind of gets rid of one of your surprises. So let's say you choose one of your Tiger Assassins and you play it to the School of Wizardry. You're going to play it on your side so you know that it's your card. It's easier to keep track that way. And this contributes 4 of the 20 power needed to get to the break point of the School of Wizardry. Now, you don't get any special abilities there, but if you would play this here, you could play an additional power 2 minion if you had one in your hand. On top of that, you could play an action from your hand. So I said you get to play 1 minion and 1 action, plus whatever the cards say. This one says that you can move one of your minions to another base. Now, we don't want to do that. We only have one minion out, and there's no benefit for us moving one. And we also have a dinosaur action that says that each one of your minions gains +1 power until the end of the turn. Well, that's not real helpful right now, so there's no point in playing it. We would end our turn by drawing 2 cards and adding them to our hand. And then the other person would go, or the next person in turn order would go, and they have minions and they have actions they can play. So they have a lot of zombie minions. They are zombie pirates, and they have some pirate actions they can play. So they have this 4-power Gravedigger. When they play this card out, they can place a minion from their discard pile back in their hand. So it's going to return cards. They don't have any in their discard pile, so they may not do that yet. They also have Tenacious Z, which is a 2-power, which says special, during your turn you may play this card from your graveyard as an extra minion. And you can only do this ability once per Tenacious Z each turn. So basically, you can return this card from your graveyard to play it out. But let's say, for example, they played the Gravedigger out here. It doesn't give them a special ability because they don't have anything in the graveyard yet. But in addition to that, since they played it to the homeworld, they can play Tenacious Z out for free. So they now have 6 of the 23 power needed to reach the breakpoint of the homeworld. In addition to that, they could play one of their actions. This one says destroy up to 2 minions of 2 power or less. Well, there are no minions of 2 power or less except for Tenacious Z, so you probably don't want to do that. And this one says name a faction. Move all of another player's minions off of the faction from one base to another. So maybe you want this Tiger Assassin over here because you don't want them winning the School of Wizardry. You could play your Sea Dogs and move all of the Tiger Assassin, or all of the ninjas, over from School of Wizardry to the homeworld. And right now we're at 10 power, so we're still not at the breakpoint. But eventually, through play like this, you're going to get up to the breakpoint. Let's say we got up to 24 power here added up by adding all these numbers in the top left corners. Whoever has the most is going to get the 4 points. And they're going to score those 4 points, keeping track of them somehow. The second place person in this case would be the ninja dinosaurs, I guess they are, and they'd get 2 points. And you would put this card aside, and you would bring out a new card, and it would replace that one. All of the cards that are here would get discarded, unless they have a special ability which says otherwise, which could be true. And you'll have a new one out that has a breakpoint of 18, scores more points for the second place than for the first place, and has a different ability. You're going to keep going in this manner until one person manages to accumulate 15 points by going on to bases. So you're trying to figure out which bases are going to be best for you, how you can best use the abilities of your different cards in your deck to manipulate your position on this board, to control the right areas to get the right points at the right time, in order to reach 15 points first so that you can be the winner. And there you have Smash Up from Alderac Entertainment. Now this is a game that I was highly anticipating, and it's one that I enjoy, but it is a chaotic game. That you're taking 2 different factions and you're shuffling them together. There's no drafting, there's no deck building per se, so what you mix together drastically, or very much so, determines how your deck is going to play. With that said, some factions seem to be much more powerful than others. And so this is from a limited number of plays, but from what I've seen, the zombie faction, for example, is very, very powerful. You're going to get a lot of guys out on the board, and you're going to get them out quickly, and you're going to be able to bring them back once they're removed. So, although I enjoy it, it is a very chaotic game. It's not one that I would expect a lot of strategy from the players playing it. I just expect it to play out however the decks are constructed. And if you get lucky, you'll do well, but that's not to say there's no strategy to the game, so there is some planning involved. Anyhow, if you're looking for a light and simple game, a card game where you don't have to draft or build decks or do anything like that, you can take Smash Up right out of the box and get playing. It's easy to learn, easy to play, and definitely has its fit as somewhat of a filler type game. It's not real short but not real long, and can be played multiple times throughout one gaming night.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.